Hello, friends. Happy Sunday. Hope everybody's having a great day. I am sitting here wrapped in my blanket, listening to the rain fall outside, snoozing, just enjoying the peace and quiet. But I thought this is the perfect time to talk to you all about my latest read. I read this book, The 13th Tale by Diane Satterfield. This book I would highly recommend if you like mystery, if you like suspense. It's a very emotion-filled book. There may or may not be a ghost or two. It is considered a classic Gothic novel. So if that's the type of books you like to read this book, The 13th Tale by Diane Satterfield. It's about a famous author named Vida Winters who had written many books, and she was beloved by her fans. But nobody really knew Vida herself because people would go to interview her, and she would always tell them a different story. And she would make up some really fantastical stories about her life. So nobody really knew her, but she wrote a letter to a biographer by the name of Margaret Leah and asked Margaret if she would come and write her story. Margaret knew who she was. She had never read any of her books, so she was like, why me? Why me? She went to see her and she asked her, why do you want me to write this book? You never tell anybody the truth about yourself. Why now? And she told her the story about a journalist coming to visit her. And the one thing he requested was that she tell him the truth. And she told him some fantastic story about her life, but she did not tell him the truth. But Vida said that stuck with her. This young man saying to her, tell me the truth. And for years and years, she would think about him saying, tell me the truth. So, Margaret asked her, why should I believe that you're going to tell me the truth? And she said, well, it's because I'm old, I'm sick, and I'm dying, and I finally want to tell somebody the truth about my life. Well, Margaret still did not trust that she was going to get the true story, and she told her, I tell you what, I'm going to ask you three questions that I can find out if you're telling me the truth about through research. And if you answer them truthfully, I'll write the story. So she asked her first, what is your real name? And Vida said, my real name is Vida Winters. So Margaret was like, okay, I'm done, I'm going. And she said, no, really, my name is Vida Winters because I legally changed my name to Vida Winters years ago. She said, but if you want the name that I was given at birth, my name is Adeline March. I lived in a house called Angelfield House, and my family were the Angelfields. So this is all stuff that could be verified. So Margaret decided she was going to write the story. But Vida also said, I have one request of you. And that is that, she said, the reason that my books are so famous is because my books have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And you have to read them in the correct order. And she said, so as I tell you my story, I'm asking that you do not ask questions. You let me tell my story from the beginning to the middle to the end. But let me tell you something. While I was reading this book, there was so many times that I wanted to skip ahead. I wanted to skip ahead to find out what happened. I didn't want to wait for her to tell it in order because this book is full of mysteries. And there were a lot of things I was like, wait, what? Well, what happened? But I forced myself to not do that. But reading this book and listening to Vida Winters' story, I understood why she lied so much about her life, because her life was weird, for lack of a better word. It was just weird. There were so many twists and turns in this story, and so much. It's, those moments that make you go, what? Yeah, there was a lot of that. And I don't want to give any of it away because you have to read it, like she said, beginning, middle, to end, to get the gist of the story. But like I said before, if you like mystery, if you like intrigue, if you like suspense, if you like ghost stories, read this book, The 13th Tale by Diane Satterfield. You will not be disappointed. That's all I'm going to say about the book, because even when I finished the book, I still had questions. I still had things I wanted to know. But read this book, The 13th Tale by Diane Satterfield. You will not be disappointed. Hope everybody have a great day. I'm going to go back to listening to the rain and just sitting here. I don't know what I'm going to be reading next, but because of the last 4 books that I read, I'm just going to find something that's light and fun and funny, because these last 4 books were quite heavy. They were very heavy. I enjoyed every one of them, but it's sort of like a palate cleanser, I guess. I need something light.